Most people who escape never actually get free. They leave the job, end the relationship, move to the new city, cut off the person, close the chapter. 6 months later, same 3 a.m. thoughts. 2 years later, same patterns with different people. A decade later, same voice, different address. They escaped the situation. They brought everything else with them. And here's what nobody tells you. Escaping was supposed to feel incomplete. Because escape isn't the last stage, it's the middle. There's a reason this happens, and it's not because something's wrong with you. Researchers who study trauma recovery have mapped this. There are 4 stages people go through after something breaks them: breakdown, escape, return, transformation. Most people complete 2. Almost everyone stops at the same place. This video breaks down 3 things. First, why escape feels like the finish line, but isn't. What's actually happening when you leave, but nothing changes? Second, the 3 specific obstacles that keep people stuck at this stage. Not vague concepts, the actual mechanisms. Third, what doing the work actually means. The specific processes that enable what researchers call integration, and how to start. If you've escaped something and still feel stuck, there's a reason, and there's a way through. It's called the return. But first, why does the voice get louder when you try to face things? This stops more people than anything else. They try to process something, the thoughts intensify, and they conclude.
See? I shouldn't go there. It's making things worse.
Here's what's actually happening. The brain's threat system doesn't distinguish between physical danger and psychological discomfort. When you approach something tagged as painful, the alarm increases. Not because you're doing something wrong, because you're doing something the brain interprets as dangerous. The volume increase isn't evidence you should stop. It's evidence you're getting close to something that matters. Think of it like a security system. The alarm gets louder the closer you get to what it's protecting. That doesn't mean turn around. It means you found the right door. Now, why escape doesn't work, even when it feels like it should? Here's a question. If you solved the external problem, why does the internal experience stay the same? Dr. Bessel van der Kolk spent decades studying trauma survivors. His research revealed something that changes how you understand moving on. Trauma isn't stored in the part of the brain that knows what year it is. It's stored in the body, in automatic responses, in the nervous system. Your rational brain knows the situation is over. Your nervous system didn't get the memo. This is why someone can logically know they're safe and still feel the fear. Why they can be in a new relationship and still flinch at the same triggers. Why they can move across the country and bring their entire nervous system with them. Escape removes the external trigger. It doesn't process the internal response. Van der Kolk calls this the body keeps the score. The body is still keeping score on something your conscious mind closed the chapter on. This isn't a flaw, it's just how the system works. The nervous system needs something. Escape can't give it. Completion, processing, what researchers call integration. Escape is stage 2. Integration, the return, is stage 3. Most people treat stage 2 like the end because stage 3 is harder, and nobody explained it was necessary. Here's how to know if you're stuck at stage 2. You left, but the same feelings show up in new situations. You understand what happened intellectually, but your body still reacts like it's happening. You've moved on, but certain triggers still hijack you. You're in a better situation, but don't feel better. If that's you, you're not broken. You just stopped one stage early. The good news? The next stage has a map. So if escape isn't enough, why doesn't everyone just do the next stage? 3 reasons, and they're more mechanical than you'd think. The culture celebrates escape. Every movie ends with the character leaving, walking away, starting fresh. Roll credits. But in the actual pattern, the one that appears across mythology, psychology, and trauma research, escape is the middle, not the end. When people treat escape as the finish line, they settle into a holding pattern. Life is better than it was. Why go digging? The obstacle isn't unwillingness to heal, it's the belief that healing already happened. How to know if this is your obstacle? You feel defensive when someone suggests there's more to process. You've told yourself, I'm over it, but your reactions say otherwise. You avoid thinking about certain things because that's in the past. The thought of revisiting something feels like going backward. Even people who know escape isn't enough often don't know what to do next. The advice sounds like, process your trauma, do the inner work, face your demons. These describe outcomes, not processes. It's like saying, just be healthy to someone who's sick, technically accurate, practically useless. Without understanding what integration actually involves, people either avoid it entirely or attempt it wrong, often re-traumatizing themselves, and conclude it's impossible. How to know if this is your obstacle? You've tried to face it and felt worse, not better. You've done a lot of thinking about what happened, but nothing shifted. You're willing to do the work, but genuinely don't know what it is. Therapy felt like talking in circles without landing anywhere. When someone approaches integration, when they start moving toward what they've avoided, the inner critic intensifies. Remember, the brain's alarm system gets louder the closer you get. At the threshold of the return, the voice has more ammunition than ever. Every previous attempt that didn't work, every reason this is dangerous. And it adds a new conclusion. This reaction proves you can't handle it. The voice getting louder feels like evidence to stop. It's actually evidence you found the stage most people never reach. How to know if this is your obstacle? You've started to approach something and the anxiety spiked, so you backed off. You interpret intense emotions as proof you're not ready. You've concluded you're not strong enough to face certain things. The idea of going there feels dangerous, not just uncomfortable. 3 obstacles: wrong map, no instructions, and a final escalation designed to turn you around. Most people have all 3 operating at once. That's not weakness. That's the architecture working exactly as it's designed to. The good news, each one has a specific solution. That's what the final section covers. Not concepts, but the actual mechanisms of integration and how to use them. So what does doing the work actually mean? Researchers have identified 3 mechanisms that enable integration. Not metaphors, actual processes. I'm going to explain each one, then give you a concrete way to apply it. The science. Dr. Peter Levine developed something called somatic experiencing. His insight: trauma overwhelms because it happens too fast. The nervous system can't process in real time. Integration works the opposite way. Small exposures, pauses between, time for the system to complete one piece before encountering the next. This is why just face it often backfires. Flooding yourself with what you avoided doesn't process it. It overwhelms again. Titration means approaching gradually, feeling something, then pausing, letting the nervous system catch up, then the next small piece. Not charging into the darkness, walking in slowly with a flashlight, checking corners. How to apply this: the 5-minute window practice. Pick something you've been avoiding, a memory, a conversation you need to have with yourself, a feeling you keep pushing down. Set a timer for 5 minutes. That's it. For those 5 minutes, let yourself approach it. Think about it. Feel what comes up. Don't try to solve it or understand it completely. Just let yourself be with it. When the timer goes off, stop. Deliberately shift your attention to something neutral. Look around the room, name 5 things you see, take a few breaths. Why this works? The nervous system learns safety through experience, not logic. 5 minutes of approaching and surviving teaches it. This is survivable. The deliberate stop teaches it. I'm in control of this. I can approach and I can leave. Do this daily or every few days. The window can expand naturally over time, but don't force it. 5 minutes of actual contact beats an hour of overwhelming yourself. Signs it's working. The same topic feels slightly less charged over weeks. You can think about it without the same physical intensity. You start noticing details you hadn't before. The spike when you approach gets shorter. The science. The nervous system uses other people to determine safety. This is neurobiological, not just emotional. Dr. Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory explains it. We're wired to read other people's nervous systems. A calm presence signals, this is survivable. The same material that overwhelms alone becomes processable with support. This is why therapy works when it works. Not just the techniques, but the regulated nervous system in the room. It's also why isolation makes everything worse. The nervous system in isolation has no external reference point. It just spirals against itself. How to apply this? Option A, professional support. A therapist trained in trauma-informed approaches. Look for EMDR, somatic experiencing, IFS, or trauma-informed CBT. This isn't about venting. It's about having a regulated nervous system present while you process. How to know if a therapist is the right fit? You feel slightly safer in their presence, not more on guard. They don't push you faster than you're ready. They seem regulated themselves, not reactive to what you share. After sessions, you feel tired but clearer, not just stirred up. Option B, a trusted person. If therapy isn't accessible, a trusted friend can serve part of this function, but it requires the right kind of conversation. I need to talk through something I've been carrying. I don't need you to fix it or give advice. I just need you to listen and stay present. Can you do that? What to look for in this person? They can hear hard things without panicking or jumping to solutions. They don't make it about themselves. They can handle silence. You feel calmer in their presence, not more activated. Option C, witnessed writing. If you don't have access to the right person, this is a workaround. Write about what you've been avoiding, but write it as if someone safe is reading over your shoulder. A future therapist. A version of yourself who's already through this. Someone who can hear it without judgment. This isn't journaling into the void. It's writing with an imagined witness. Research shows the felt sense of a compassionate audience changes how the nervous system processes the material. Signs co-regulation is working. The same material feels less isolating. You can share pieces without spiraling afterward. The story starts to feel like something that happened to you, not something that is you. You feel less alone with it, even if nothing external changed. The science. The facts of what happened don't change. The story you tell about them can. Narrative therapy research shows that trauma isn't just the event, it's the conclusion drawn from the event. This happened becomes, this happened, therefore I'm broken. Integration changes the therefore, not the this happened. Same facts, different conclusion. This was a chapter instead of this is who I am. This is what I survived instead of this is what broke me. You're not rewriting history. You're completing the story instead of letting it end at the worst part. How to apply this? The 3 conclusion exercise. Take something you've been carrying. Write down the facts, just what happened, no interpretation. Then write out the current conclusion your brain draws. This happened, therefore, fill in the blank honestly, whatever the voice says. Therefore, I'm not enough. Therefore, I can't trust anyone. Therefore, I'll always be like this. Now write 2 alternative conclusions using the same facts. Alternative 1. This happened. Therefore, I learned. What did this teach you about yourself, people, or life, even if the lesson was painful? Alternative 2. This happened. Therefore, I now. What capacity do you have now that you didn't have before? What do you notice that others miss? What are you unwilling to tolerate that you once accepted? The point isn't to pick the best one. It's to see that the same facts support multiple conclusions. and you've been treating one conclusion as the only truth. The survivor reframe, another version. Complete these sentences about the thing you've been carrying. The fact that I'm still here after that means someone who went through that and survived probably has. If I met someone else who experienced this, I would think they were. Notice what you say about the hypothetical other person. That's usually closer to the truth than what you say about yourself. Signs reauthoring is working. The story doesn't change, but it feels less defining. You can talk about it without the same shame or charge. You start seeing what it gave you, not just what it took. The event moves from "this is who I am" to "this is something I went through." Here's how these three mechanisms work together. This isn't about doing everything at once. It's a sequence. Phase 1, titration. Start with the 5-minute window practice. Pick one thing you've been avoiding. Approach it in small doses. Your only job? Prove to your nervous system that you can approach this thing and survive. Don't try to resolve it. Don't try to understand it completely. Just make contact and come back. Phase 2, co-regulation. Once you can approach it without the same spike, bring in a witness. Therapist, trusted person, or witnessed writing. Touch the same material, but with a calm presence alongside you. Let your nervous system learn it's not alone with this. Phase 3, reauthoring. Now start working with meaning. Use the 3 conclusion exercise. Do the survivor reframe. Separate the facts from the conclusions. Find alternative endings. Let the story complete instead of freezing at the worst frame. This isn't about one breakthrough conversation. It's a process. Weeks, sometimes months. But now you know what the process actually is. The voice said the return was impossible. That was the final lie. It was designed to make you stop at stage 2 forever. But you have something most people don't. You know stage 3 exists. You know why it's hard. And you know what actually moves you through it. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between staying stuck and walking out the other side. Start with titration this week. 5 minutes. One thing you've been avoiding. That's the whole assignment. You don't have to do this fast. You just have to start. I've put together a complete roadmap for the return stage, a guide that walks you through all 3 phases with exercises, tracking sheets, and specific practices. It's free. Link in the description. And if you want to actually practice what we talked about today, if you want a guided experience of coming back into your body and finding ground, I made something for that too. It's called The Return, Coming Back to Your Body. A 20-minute guided journey designed for the first 48 hours after any transformative experience. But honestly, it works anytime you feel unmoored. No analyzing, no figuring out, just landing. That's on screen now if you want to go deeper. And one question before you go. What's the one thing you've been avoiding? What would change if you started the 5-minute practice today? Drop it in the comments. Sometimes naming it is the first step. Go gently.